I can't believe that this hasn't been. I can believe, but this is something that should be reported on far more. It's time to shoot with Joe Biden.
Fired 2 blasts outside the house. I shoot him in the leg. You shoot him in the leg.
AR-14. Joe Biden's gun control policies are far more radical than people feared Barack Obama's would be.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand. The plan is so radical. Here is something that surprised me, and no one here believed me when I told them, and I will read from it. Joe Biden, his plan would end. Now, you've heard about the online loophole?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. That's not a real thing. I've purchased. You helped purchase with my father an old Marlin lever action, like kind of an heirloom firearm from Gun Broker, which is the biggest gun auction site. And this was something where obviously it couldn't be a surprise because ultimately I had to have it shipped from a dealer to a dealer. I have to go in and file paperwork. So I don't know what the online loophole ever was, but it doesn't matter because they're not even arguing that anymore. Joe Biden will ban any and all online firearm, ammunition, or accessory sales. Meaning under a Joe Biden administration, according to his own website, you can't buy a grip, a trigger spring, a holster, depending on how you define accessories. Let me read it right here. Biden's plan would, quote from his website, end the online sale of firearms and ammunition. Biden will enact legislation to prohibit all online sales of firearms, ammunition, kits, and gun parts.
Wow.
By the way, if you're trying to look at making something safer where you can regulate it, online sales, there's a record.
Exactly.
There's a record. There's no way to buy it out of the back of a trunk.
Right.
Again, people who sell their firearms on the main websites. Now, if you can go on the dark web and commit a crime, that's not a loophole. You're a criminal. Here's another one, because since you just talked about safes. He wants to be able to charge adults for minors accessing guns. Now, I know what you're saying. It's like if an adult, and it's already a crime, if an adult gives a minor a firearm, but they don't have the legal authority to possess, that's a crime.
Sure.
Okay.
That's not what the law is. Let me again read from the website. Hold adults accountable for giving minors access to firearms. Biden supports legislation holding adults criminally and civilly liable for directly or negligently giving a minor access to a firearm, regardless of whether the minor actually gains possession of the firearm.
What?
Biden will end all online sales of guns, ammo, parts, kits, accessories, little frilly things. Did anyone here know this until I just told you? It's on his website. Ban all words. You could be criminally and civilly liable if you have a nightstand gun safe if you have a nightstand gun that isn't in a safe, even if the kid never accesses it, never uses it, doesn't know that it's there, because it says very clearly, holding adults criminally and civilly liable for directly or negligently giving a minor access to a firearm, whether the minor or not actually gains possession of the firearm.
It's a direct attack on anyone who has a firearm.
In the house.
Yeah,
it is.
absolutely.
If it's in the house and not locked down with the nuclear codes, it's a crime.
So get this. Let's say your master bedroom's on the second floor of your house. Your nephew comes over. You're playing in the front yard. Your sister and nephew go in and go to the bathroom on the first floor. They're in the house. The gun is on a second floor. It may be not even locked, right? Maybe it's behind the bedstand or up on a shelf or something like that. You're single. You don't have kids. The kid's not even on the floor. Not even in the same room. Nowhere near the gun. That might possibly fall under it. And here's the point. Maybe after 4 years of litigation and 2 years of appeals, you'll win that case. But you're bankrupt. You've already lost it. And the reason is because Biden has created a law that allows people to sue you for something that is currently not even being asked for.
And we've seen this all the time now. We've seen neighbors turning on neighbors, brother against brother.
Yeah.
You know, something about end times. I believe the Bible says something about this somewhere in the back.
Something in there.
You can have a neighbor who doesn't like go, oh, I know that family has guns over there in the house. And then they go, yeah, go over there on a play date. And then they bust it and go, hey, police officers, my neighbor has kids there, and I think there are guns that aren't locked in that exact scenario. And guess what? All of a sudden, the Biden Gestapo come in and say, oh, well, listen, we're going to have to write you up, just like they do now, if you happen to have a business in New York where you're doing takeout only, but your front door is open. We'll talk about that tomorrow. The problem with authoritarianism isn't just that these rules are coming from the top. It's the people who will enforce it.
Yeah.
And the people who will enforce trying to use the system to take away your rights. And the Second Amendment is a huge one because it's number two. Number one, freedom of speech, religion, assembly, protest, Here's another one. The hate crime loophole.
Yeah.
And this is something that is incredibly disturbing because people go, oh, you can commit hate crimes right now?
Yeah.
And that's a loophole? No. So we've gone through banning all online sales, banning having firearms and kids in a house, period, effectively, making it illegal. And now he says on his website he'll close the hate crime loophole by, quote, bring us up to cute Maddie, legislation prohibiting an individual who has been convicted of a misdemeanor hate crime or received an enhanced sentence for a misdemeanor because of hate or bias in its commission from purchasing or possessing a firearm. This is what's important. What's a misdemeanor hate crime? We need to define this, right?
How do you
people
define
are thinking,
hate?
you're going out there and you're shooting up a black church. No, that's actually a felony. And the primary issue with that is not so much that you hate people, it's that you tried to kill people.
Yes, that's true.
Already really bad.
What do you have to say to be charged with a misdemeanor hate crime? Just say naughty words. No, are you exaggerating? Nope, we have cases of this. We've talked about it before. Students at the University of Connecticut, remember they were playing a game where they yelled increasingly offensive words back and forth. We used to play this in high school. It was the penis game when I was in high school. Remember that? You say penis, and you'd
have to go loud.
Class. Apparently they were playing a game where it's like saying racial slurs. Now, irresponsible? Sure.
Yeah.
But they're 13. I know you think they're responsible enough to smoke a joint and change their sex, but I don't think they're necessarily responsible to be held accountable because their synapses haven't formed. It doesn't mean they're racist. It means they play stupid games. Well, guess what? These kids were charged with a misdemeanor hate crime for playing a game. Then we also have people recently who've been charged with misdemeanor hate crimes simply when Black Lives Matter protesters attack their vehicle and they continue driving. So this comes down to your understanding of the Second Amendment and fundamental rights. Do you forego your rights because you said a bad word? Do you forfeit your rights? Now, I think you forfeit your rights when you rape somebody and murder somebody. I think you forfeit certain rights because you've decided to infringe on other people's rights. But if you defend yourself, if you're driving down a street and someone throws himself on your car like the lady in Happy Gilmore, get me out of here! And you keep driving. Should you lose your right to protect your wife and kids? Well, this is the policy from Joe Biden. Hate crime, explain to people that hate crime misdemeanors, that is such a low bar.
Well, it's already a low bar, but it's already a ridiculous bar. The simple fact that we're dehumanizing certain types of crime because it wasn't hate motivated, because by giving it additional factor, an increasing factor on something that is hate motivated, whether it's a misdemeanor or a felony, and the misdemeanor part's a whole different bad part. But the underlying concept of a hate crime is that there are worse murders than regular murder. Right. And it's not just premeditated. But premeditated hate murder should be even worse. We kill you twice. We kill your kids. I don't know what the answer is, but it doesn't make any sense, and it further divides America. It further divides our citizens.
Well, you know why? Because it's also not multifaceted. I talked about this yesterday. Sure, people do kill based on hatred, but it's not just skin and it's not just gender. You have far more people, millions of people who've been killed based on hatred of their ideology. That's what you see in Maoist China. That's what you see in Soviet Russia. And guess what? The people who were being hate killed looked a lot like the people who were hate killing them. It's not a race thing. They said, oh, you're a dissident. Oh, you're speaking out against the government. We hate your ideas and we kill you. It'd be really hard to probably tell the difference. Sorry, half Asian Bill. From the guy in the tank running over the guy in Tiananmen Square from the guy in Tiananmen Square. Hey, Joe Biden, you're running right now for president of the United States, and important states are the Midwestern states where hunting is actually more common than anywhere else in the country, particularly states like Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Your website says that you would ban all firearm sales, accessories, ammunition, kits, parts online, as well as criminalizing people owning guns with children present if they aren't locked up in a safe. What do you think what kind of an effect do you think that will have in your election likelihood in the swing states? Listen, that's right up your alley asking that kind of a question. Yes, it is, because I'm a fair moderator. What? Who? How is he here? Here's another thing. A lot of people have talked about the ban on assault weapons, and we've done this before. We've talked about it, the ins and outs. It's a fake thing, right? The idea of assault weapons. There's a difference between an assault weapon and an assault rifle, which is something that has burst fire in the military. So assault weapon is a made-up term. Look, this is legal, this is illegal. It's just a pistol grip. That's all that changes it. It's what kind of aesthetics? It's a backdoor gun grab, and it was wildly unpopular. Now, Biden is very open about the fact that he would ban all undefined assault weapons. Here you go.
So to gun owners out there who say, well, a Biden administration means they're going to come for my guns.
Bingo. You're right if you have an assault weapon. The fact of the matter is they should be illegal, period.
So there's him saying he's going to ban all assault weapons.
And he didn't equivocate.
He didn't equivocate.
Very clear.
Yeah. And he mentioned the buyback. He talks about the buyback program quite a bit, too. It talks about it on his website, a gun buyback. Now, here's what's so concerning. We've talked about Australia and the gun buyback. That was a mandatory buyback. And considering how specific Joe Biden is on banning all firearm sales and ammunitions online and making you criminally liable and civilly liable, even if there is actually no child who reaches a firearm in your house whatsoever, whatever. The vagueness here is concerning because it just mentions buyback. Well, all examples we have of buybacks have, by and large, been mandatory. So here is, well, would it be mandatory? I don't know because he didn't specify, but he did say that his gun czar was going to be Francis O'Rourke, who you may know him as Beto.
How are you going to take away weapons from people who do not want to give them up and you don't know where they are?
If someone does not turn in an AR-15 or an AK-47, one of these weapons of war, or brings it out in public and brandishes it in an attempt to intimidate, as we saw when we were at Kent State recently, then that weapon will be taken from them. If they persist, there will be other consequences from
he's not
law
running for
enforcement.
president, so
I'm going to guarantee you this is not the last year seeing of this guy. You're going to take care of the gun problem with me. You're going to be the one that leads this effort.
So you have Beto saying it's going to be a mandatory buyback between kickflips, and then Joe Biden saying he's going to be my gun czar, and his website says there's going to be a buyback. So banning all online sales whatsoever of firearms, ammunition, accessories, making you criminally civilly liable for having a firearm in the house if a child happens to be present at any point, even if they don't actually gain possession of the firearm, assault weapons ban, which isn't defined, and then a buyback, which we don't know whether it's mandatory, but he will appoint Beto O'Rourke as gun czar, who said that he will kick down your door and take away your AR-15. Said so adamantly. Hell yes. So I wonder why, where per capita we have some of the most gun owners in the country, like Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, the media has not questioned Joseph Biden at all about his own firearm policies on his own website. You tell me why you think that is. This has been shooting the shh with Biden.
Fired 2 blasts outside the house. Shoot him in the leg. You shoot him in the leg. AR-14.